Imposter syndrome is something that affects us all, myself included. Honestly, I don't have anything figured out, but that's okay because I continue to just show up every day, do my thing, do the best that I can at it. Overall, just try to hope for the best. That's what we're all trying to do. If you feel paralyzed because of imposter syndrome, then this podcast episode is basically going to be talking about my own personal experience with it and how I've personally overcome it. And even though it hasn't necessarily gone away, I've learned to really just kind of quiet that part of my mind and just move forward with things anyway. And I want to share with you guys how I personally feel like you can get there too. So what does imposter syndrome actually feel like? So imposter syndrome is basically just doubt that you're any good at what you do. A lot of talented people will feel like they're not actually good at what they do, which could be a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. Doubt that you know what you're actually doing. A lot of times you're going to question your decisions. You're going to feel like you're not sure like what is the best approach to solving a certain problem. You're not sure how to move forward. You don't know how to convince the client that you know how to do certain things. Questioning that you're good enough to charge a high amount of money. A lot of us will be like, ooh, am I really good enough to actually charge $10,000 for this project? Maybe I should do something more modest. And then you end up cutting it in half and then just kind of screwing yourself. Doubt that you can actually fulfill on the service. Things can get very complicated very quick. A lot of times you'll start having doubt on if you can actually pull it off and see it all through. Or maybe you're in a room full of successful people and you don't feel like you actually deserve to be there. You kind of feel like the odd person out and you feel like the least experienced person in the room. All of that stuff is normal. And all of that stuff is something that pretty much everybody goes through, even the best of us. In reality, no one really knows what they're doing. And we all try to kind of want to have this, maybe not persona, but at least this internal feeling that we know what we're doing and feeling confident with what we're doing. And hopefully like that will be enough to overcome the imposter syndrome. And honestly, no matter how experienced you get at things, there's always going to be things that you don't know. So there's always going to be that that feeling of the imposter syndrome just creeping in. And honestly, it never goes away. And I had personally struggled with that same thing as well. So, and I'm sure literally everyone who is watching this is going through the same thing. But for me personally, what I personally felt helped me with overcoming it is, what is the root cause of the feeling? The root cause of the feeling is just doubt that you can actually do things, that you're capable, that you have the knowledge for it. So what do you do to actually resolve that? Well, you put in the work. You invest you invest time into understanding how to do things properly. You invest into knowing how to maintain all the logistics of something. You learn how to problem solve. You learn how to get better results for your clients. You learn how to communicate with the clients better. Overall, you just focus more on the overall skill building of whatever it is that you do. It's not something that's just going to go away. It is going to be something that you progressively feel less of, but it never actually goes away. And me personally, how I felt like I overcame it was two things. I focused on just building my skills, getting better as a creative, getting better at working on set, getting better at communicating with people, getting better at editing, sound, narrative, producing, sales, social media, advertising, just trying to really build up skill sets so that I can actually feel confident in what I'm doing, or that I can actually kind of problem solve around things and just be like helpful to people. I don't achieve that every single time. There are definitely going to be people out there who think I'm an idiot, and that's totally fine. Like, you're not here to please everybody. And then the second thing was me personally, I just chose to ignore it. It's like easier said than done, obviously, but when you let that thought kind of just creep into your head, the world has this way of where if you are constantly thinking about something, then you are going to turn that into reality. Because when you think a certain thing, the actions that you choose to do are going to follow along with that mindset that you have, which is the imposter syndrome. So, me personally, my mindset now is that, hey, I don't have everything figured out. I'm going to make mistakes. Not everyone's going to like me. Some of the footage may not come out as good as I would hoped. There's going to be a lot of things like running late, almost missing a flight, working with a big team where things get logistically complicated and things are never going to go your way when you have a bunch of different people involved. Sometimes my ideas may not work, but in reality, I know that I've been doing these things for the past 9 years. This is what I can expect from doing certain actions. These are the results that I've seen from experience. I have clients that have gotten good results from the videos that I have made for them and the work that I've done for them. And at the end of the day, I'm only as experienced as the amount of time that I've shown up on shoots and the amount of time that I've actually put into doing that actual work. So I am going to do things to the best of my ability, to the best of my knowledge. I know that things are not going to go my way 100% of the time. And I know that things will come up that are not within my control. And that is going to affect the outcome of everything. But if I can just focus on the things that I can control, as opposed to the things that I can't, then whatever ends up happening, that will be the best possible outcome. If I did a shoot and I did everything perfectly, but other things ended up happening to where maybe I could have done it better, or even if I'm working on a fast-paced like project and I have to think very fast, make decisions very fast, then not every decision or outcome of the decision is going to be perfect. I just have to learn to adapt. I just have to learn to do the best that I can with everything that is placed in front of me. And then whatever the results ends up being, I can accept the fact that I did the best I could. I worked fast. I made the best possible decision in that moment. Everyone else brought their A game. This was the result. Then, like, I did the best I could. Like, I'm not going to let an imposter syndrome or a wanting for like a perfect outcome to cripple me and hold me back from doing the things that I want to do. Another way to look at it too is that a lot of times our fears is, oh, this person is going to think I'm a fraud, or that I'm not capable, or that I'm not qualified. Literally, everyone thinks that about themselves. They're just trying to do the best that they can, pretty much with what they're given, exactly what I said. And there are going to be people that feel a little crippled by that because it didn't come out perfect and that nothing went to plan. But you know what? At the end of the day, they did the best that they could with the knowledge they had. And at the end of all that, they're only going to become better. They're going to become better. They're going to become more experienced. They're going to become wiser to what could have been a different approach to the same issue once it comes up again. And overall, you become better. Instead of focusing on the perfection, it's like just focus on like the actual tasks, the actual work. Do the best that you can with what you're given. Imposter syndrome kind of just comes from this need for perfection. But when you're a perfectionist, then things will kind of just be static for you. Like there's no such thing as perfection. And when you try to achieve it, it's just impossible. You're going to drive yourself crazy. And it's going to hold you back from growing further and doing more things because you're so fixated on the perfect result. There's this story that I heard. I'm sure you guys have heard it too, about the clay pots. Like there was an experiment where there's one group who had to focus on making 100 clay pots versus a group that had to focus on making the perfect single clay pot. And then what they discovered was that the people that were tasked with creating the 100 clay pots actually created much better ones than the single clay pot because they had many, many iterations of that pot. They probably made like 70 bad ones before they ended up making, and then they made 29 good ones, and then they made the 100th like perfect one. And then the people that were focused on only making one, it didn't look that good because they were too focused on all the details, but not getting the experiment or not getting the experience of making 100 mistakes. The same thing applies to our career. You have to make the 100 mistakes. You have to make the 100 videos. You have to be on 100 shoots. You got to do 100 edits to really actually get good at it. You have to make 100 sales calls. You have to post 100 posts, run like 100 ads or whatever to really understand and get good at it. And that really only comes with time. Time and learning from all of the previous 99 mistakes before you can make that perfect actual one. And then in reality, it probably won't even be perfect, but it'll be way better than when you started off at one. So if you were focusing on the 100 pot task and you ended up making 20 and then you get discouraged because it's still not that good, then guess what? You're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck in that perfectionist mindset, the imposter syndrome that I can never make a good pot. I can never make a good video, or I can never really know what I'm doing on these things. It's like no one knows what they're doing. You just have to put in the reps. You have to put in the time, put in the work to actually get there. And then eventually you will get to a point where you've made so many mistakes that you actually feel confident in yourself because you know how to avoid 100 mistakes. And then as you keep going, you'll learn how to avoid 200 different mistakes. And even then, even if you know it, it's not going to stop you from making it again. You can try to prevent it, but it doesn't always guarantee it's not going to happen. It's just, but you become smarter and wiser and understand all the little details and the nuances of making something really, really good or being really, really good at something. So if you want to overcome imposter syndrome, then you just need to focus on putting in the time, learning from mistakes, and just pile up all of these different mistakes over a long period of time, and then you'll eventually be good. I was never a super talented videographer when I first started out, but I've been on hundreds of shoots. I've made hundreds of videos. I've done hundreds of whatever, and I'm still not perfect at it. But I feel pretty confident anytime I turn on the camera. Or even another example, I don't know how many videos I've done where I'm talking to camera, but I've definitely done a lot. And I definitely have not been able to talk to camera exactly the way that I'm doing now. I used to stutter all the time. I used to not be able to project. I used to always need a script. I still kind of do need a script sometimes, but I mean, I can just talk to the camera comfortably and do this. And that was because I put in the reps. I don't have this imposter syndrome necessarily of like, oh, I can't be on YouTube or I can't be making content. I'm terrible at talking. No, I showed up even though I was terrible at talking, and I'm a lot better and more comfortable with it now. And that all just comes with time and reps and making those 100 damn pots. So I just want to leave it at that. So thank you guys for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment in the comment section below if you're going to stop having imposter syndrome now. You probably won't, but at least hopefully this will help you kind of get over that. So if you enjoyed the episode, be sure to subscribe to my channel to check out future episodes and follow me on social media. I'm Scott Takai on all platforms, and have a great day, and I'll see you guys later.